Alright, boys, it's time for your weekly Celtics update. They blew a 19-point lead to the Cavs, and we are starting with Jayson Tatum's fourth quarter. He had 3 turnovers. Here's the first one for you. He tried to get it to a spotting up Romeo Langford, but Cedi Osman got that. Here's the second one. Same thing, he tries to get it to Romeo Langford in the corner, and Cedi Osman's right there in the passing lane. Here he had Evan Mobley all over him. We'll take a look at Mobley's fourth quarter, because he was insane, to say the least. And finally, another one of these Jayson Tatum baseline post-up things. Speaking of Evan Mobley, he definitely made a difference there. Now, before I roast Tatum some more, it should be said that the second unit gave up a lot of the lead. Here you have Jabari Parker setting an illegal screen. And this one where the Celtics offense was a little all over the place, Jabari just kind of threw it out of bounds. I don't know what the exact plan here was, like Langford cutting or Grant Williams baseline, I don't know. Pritchard also had a tough time making shots. He was 0 for 5. He has not been as good this season, which is especially disappointing because there were parts of his rookie year where it was like, man, this dude could be really good as like a shooter and a backup point guard or maybe, fringe starter type of guy. I don't know now. Now let's look at Tatum's shot attempts in the fourth. He was 2 for 6. Here he had good positioning on Denzel Valentine, but then it turns into a fadeaway, which seems like it's happening all the time with Tatum now. The Cavs do a good job running Langford off the three-point line, and Tatum misses another good look. It's not like he's only missing the questionable shots. Now this one in transition, here's another Evan Mobley one. This one is nuts. Oh boy. Evan Mobley was so damn good in the fourth. I was very conflicted because just as an unbiased NBA fan, I was like, kid's great. As a Celtics fan, I was losing it. And to his credit, he did make this one. If he wouldn't have, then that would have been real rough. Offensive foul? Yeah, probably. Speaking of offense, here was the last play for Ime Udoka in this game. It was a Schroder ISO. The first whatever seconds are not there, but trust me, he was just standing there. These guys were just standing there. And you remember Brad Stevens out of bounds plays, after timeout plays, and just the creative screens that they would be setting and guys cutting to the rim. It would have been nice to see that on that play. Now let's look at some of Mobley's buckets in the fourth. Turnaround jumper over Grant Williams. Now when Mobley made this shot, I just said to myself, wow, he really is Kevin Garnett. But now I can bring the Tim Duncan comparison back because look at this post-up he has on Jayson Tatum. Look at this hook shot off the glass he busts out over Tatum. And that's just textbook as hell, man. I would like to say that Schroder was good in this game overall. He was their best player. And if he can continue to play like this and get downhill on screens and get to his pull-up mid-range and then Jalen comes back and Tatum hopefully figures out whatever he's got going on, that could be awesome. Let's check out the 2 biggest plays for the Cavs. So on this one, it results in a Jared Allen lob from Rubio. If you look at what's happening underneath the rim, so Smart is on Allen, Time Lord's on Cedi, Schroder is on Mobley, and Marcus Smart attempts to have something happen here where he's going to Mobley, and I don't know if he wants Schroder to go to Jared Allen or Time Lord or whatever. Clearly, he's asking for something, and there's just a miscommunication. And here was the play that gave the Cavs the lead. It was just a Garland ISO on Marcus Smart, and I don't really know if Marcus needed to reach in at the end there. I mean, Time Lord's in a pretty okay position to contest the shot. Anyway, why did the Clippers beat the T-Wolves by 30? Well, for one, Karl Anthony Towns didn't play too well. You see Zubats relocating, but honestly, Towns kind of settled there, if I'm honest. Now Towns is defended by Hartenstein, and off the dribble, anything? Nope, just a long 2 with nothing going on. The T-Wolves also shot about 45% in the paint in this game. I think that was mainly the Clippers doing a good job on plays like this one, load up inside without fouling. For the season, teams are shooting below 60% at the rim against the Clippers, and they're shooting below 40% inside the paint, but not at the rim. Now let's take a look at Edwards. He was 2 for 6 from 3 in this game, 33%. Here, the Clippers just let him take that one pretty much. If you go down Edwards' game logs this year, it's almost split in half between games he shot well from 3 and games that he didn't. And I think a lot of that is his tendency to take shots that are not as open as this one. Here's one more Clippers defensive play for you. So Winslow gets around the screen fast enough. He's putting pressure on D'Lo from behind. Bledsoe's digging in, Terrence Mann's digging in, and Hartenstein is sturdy enough right underneath the basket. And besides all that, Paul George did his thing. Here's a nice signature pull-up jumper for you. You want to know what else happened last night? The Pelicans won. They got a good game from Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I mean, he looks like a guy who can do a lot of stuff off of screens. Like, the handle is pretty fluid and all that. It's just a matter of, can you finish stuff? Can you make floaters? Can you make open threes? Because that's been a bit of a problem for him. I also think this Heat win over the Jazz was big. Miami had lost 3 in a row. Still don't have Jimmy. You got a nice Bam assist to Duncan Robinson. Let's just look at some more Bam assists. I think it's always a nice way to see how Miami's clicking is just certain guys' assist numbers. You know, here you get a trap on Lowry. Bam is moving. Pretty textbook stuff. Jazz did an okay job closing out. But when Duncan Robinson's got it going, that's just how it's going to go pretty much. Here's another one. Just a classic Robinson-Bam two-man game, and there you go. Now, their offense fell apart in the fourth quarter, and it almost led to a crazy comeback for the Jazz. And I think this was the exact moment where it started to get a little scary for Miami. The momentum was pretty crazy for the Jazz. The place was going wild. And this Mitchell turnaround was when the building started to become chaotic. Unfortunately for the Jazz, it was just too late, man. 6 points, 40 seconds. Even with how much they were rolling, it's tough to make the comeback.